Hey everyone, what's going on? My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over gold and silver, do our technical daily analysis that we do. I just look at this because I do think that gold and silver and platinum, these are precious metals that are going to be very good investments over the next 5 to 10 years. I think, again, expansion phase, inflationary cycles coming, and I'm positioning myself in this stuff. We could be a little bit early. I don't think so. I think it is right ahead of us. We're just in a spell, a kind of a downtrend spell. Could it be ending here in today? Are we going to see some pressure to come back up? We'll see in the charts. I didn't have a lot of time to look at this stuff. Had a lot of stuff going on today. High winds going on today. Trees, branches falling down. We had our fence fell down. It's kind of old. I get it, and had a lot of stuff going on. So didn't have a lot of time to look at this. So I'm going to look at it first shot, just like everyone else. And again, this is my financial opinion. Please don't use this as advice. But let's dive in here and take a look at all this stuff. So I've got the dollar pulled up. It was down today, 0.24%. We have, it's kind of coming up and pausing here. I'd like to see it come on back down, but I think we're going to come up, kind of do a retracement move of this larger picture view. And I'll back out a little bit more. You can see this kind of uptrend here, and we broke to the downside. Sometimes they do a return move and then they crash. Commodities do very well under a weaker dollar, and it seems like everyone's running into the dollar because currencies are failing all over the world. They're having problems, currency crises, and the dollar is still the reserve currency. It's the strongest reserve currency amongst, it's the strongest currency amongst all of these bad currencies. They're all bad. So commodities and precious metals are a good spot to be for this spot to hang out. Looking at the 10-year, the 10-year is still remaining resilient. It's up 1.74%. We're in this big 40-year decline of interest rates over time. And I think what we're doing is we're putting in this big old bottoming pattern, a reverse head and shoulders pattern. I do think this is going to head higher. Higher interest rates are typically, they lag inflation. And when you're in an inflationary environment, interest rates chase that inflation higher. We are in an inflationary environment, and we're transitioning from a disinflation to inflationary environment. And we should see this 10-year yield work its way higher. Again, this isn't fast, and they are trying to manipulate, control, probably the yield curve and all this stuff. So there's a lot of manipulation out there. Now, gold, we're looking at gold. We put a nice, good wick on the bottom here. That's a hammer pattern, and that's what we want to see. That is a reversal pattern in gold here. That's what this big wick is here. So there's buyers down here. It reversed and came back up and finished quite strong. So I would suspect that we could see a bottoming and a potential buying pressure here in the short term. So I think it looks a lot better than it was looking. Silver's also got that same hammer pattern. It's putting in some buying pressure. Let's see if we can get some momentum to the upside. That's all we can say on the very short term. I can't tell you how long this buying pressure is going to last, but this is the first sign of a buying pressure and potentially a bottoming type move. Platinum did the same thing. We got this nice big wick on the bottom, a hammer pattern coming. It looks like it was up $4.50 at or $920. Hopefully we can get a little bounce here. We have to break back above, I would say, this type of support resistance line right here to get, I think, some good traction to move higher. And I can extend that across of what I'm saying. And you can see that we've bounced kind of in these sections multiple times. So there's good support, good resistance in this area, and we're finding some support here, and hopefully we can get a little double bottom to move on up. The XAU to gold ratio, it is also kind of hopefully bottoming here where we can start heading higher, which means that the gold and silver index will outperform gold. We are still have a lot of downward momentum, and usually what happens is you get this downward momentum and it has to kind of bounce its way out a couple times. It needs to square up that momentum before moving up. And hopefully that's what we're doing. Again, I can't tell you, I'm not forecasting moves. That's how you get laughed off stage, so to speak. But what I can tell you is that this stuff is incredibly cheap, and that we have the momentum coming down, and it's working its way sideways right now. And the first, move, if you look at this, is you get this downward momentum this way. Then you go sideways, and then you're going to go up. That's exactly what happens. And right now, we are going sideways and we're about to move to the upside. All of the market conditions are changing. You should see that with your inflation numbers and everything. And this ratio is going to mean that the miners, I think, will outperform gold. They do that in the beginning of a bull market in gold. It's done that last cycle. It's done it the cycle before. They've performed very well in the beginning of the markets. So I think that gold and silver are good spots to be hiding out in because I think they're going to probably turn quite soon. Does that mean that they're just all going to rocket higher right off the bat? I kind of like this setup here. I mean, here's a weekly setup. It's putting in a bullish engulfing. It's pulled back off of its kind of resistance here. There's your bullish engulfing pattern right here. You got a hammer pattern here. I think we're good to go. I think this is a good spot to be accumulating if you guys believe that we have inflation. The sentiment on my channel alone means that people are not looking at this stuff. They have lost interest. And that's when I like to add. That is where I add. Right here, right now, I like it in this spot right in here. EXK, I mean, we're firming up. We got a nice hammer pattern today. We got to break this downtrend. We got to break the downtrend. We break the downtrend, I think I'm going to be a lot more positive on the sector when we do that. And we've got another hammer pattern in, this is SILJ. Let's see if I can, I don't know why I'm not allowed. Here we go, here we go, here we go. And we got the hammer pattern here, so hopefully we can bust through this downtrend line and reverse this pattern. We are still in a downtrend, though. We're still in a downtrend. And GDX, we're still in a downtrend in that, but we've got the hammer pattern. We're at support. We've got nice, good support down here. And if you guys, I mean, if you're a bullish person and you want to sprinkle some in here, I mean, this is where I would be doing it at the bottom of this pattern where we've got some support coming across, kind of multi-support coming through here. This is where I would be doing it. Metallic minerals, it's been just moving sideways at the moment. Big old drop here, but we're moving sideways. We busted out, came back. We're at the top of the pattern. That's where we're at. And this would be a good low-risk entry point for a long-term hold. This is an exploration company. It's in silver. It's going to be very volatile. You got to have your head on straight and know the thesis, know silver and the deficits and what's coming to be a good long-term holder in here. This thing will throw you around. It will buck you off if you're not ready for it. Here's Koya Silver. This thing is quite low. We've been in this downtrend. I'm waiting for a break to the upside. I thought we were ready to go here, but it came back down with the moronic virus, we'll call it. We sold back off. But if we break this down here to the upside, I would be much more positive on it. Discovery Silver, another one that's been kind of chopping sideways. Another one that I think if silver goes up, this thing's going to be absolutely explosive to the upside. On a weekly candlestick basis, you can see the big move up here. We came up, broke out of the channel to the downside. You can see the big selling pressure here. See that? Whenever you see big selling pressure like this, it's a move lower. And then now we're seeing buying pressure on this side. So I think this is reversing and we'll see it move on up for Discovery Silver. First Majestic Silver, we've got the hammer pattern on a weekly candlestick basis. Again, I think this thing's ready to turn soon, and I'd be looking at it and watching it. Newmont, it's finding some support, had a little bit of a down day today. We're right at support here. Hopefully we can hold in here and start moving on up. I'm remaining positive. Doesn't mean that my positivity means that we're going to go higher. I'm just remaining positive, saying that the support's holding on. And we're at the low end of Yamana Gold. Again, guys, if you got a teeny bit of money, I don't want this thing to blow it to the downside. I just don't see the market conditions going to the downside. That's where maybe I'm blinded. I mean, you could wait for a little bit more buying pressure here, but we are getting really low. It looks like we've got kind of a hammer pattern right here. I mean, we're cheap. We're at support. Up to you on what you want to do. Impact Silver, breaking its downtrend. We're kind of like coming down and then chopping sideways. We're at support here. We've got support, good support all coming back through here. It's up to you on what you want to do, but, you know, Sprinkle Fest 2021 at the end of the year could be in the cards. And Aftermath Silvers, I mean, it's still kind of breaking out down here. Maybe we can get a little kind of a big hammer pattern where we can start moving back up. But it's still seeing some weakness here. Looking at Sandstorm Gold, a little bit the hammer pattern as well. This is a royalty companies that I'm going into. Hopefully we just dipped down below and we can move on up. Let me back out here. I don't know if I drew this completely correct. No, I did. It's pretty close. Hopefully we can, on a monthly basis, start fighting back up. Weekly basis, start coming on up. This is a daily here. But we have broken to the downside here in the short term. Franco-Nevada putting in a hammer pattern. Hopefully we can get some upside traction here. EMX, same type scenario. We are coming below its resistance support line. This big guy here. We're kind of dipping down. Hopefully we don't break to the downside here. We can find some support and move back up. Teuton Resources, we're right at the support line. That's where we're at right here. So it's still hanging on. Wheaton Precious Metals putting in a big candlestick, scaring people out. I still think this is a really good setup for a long-term perspective to get in this area here over the long term to launch this thing, hopefully to the moon. I do own a good amount of Wheaton Precious Metals. Gold royalties firming up on the weekly candlestick. Looks like we got some up days here on the daily today, so that's getting at least a little bit of upness. We're right at the support line looking at that, so that one might be one to look at. Gold royalty. Metalla royalty coming under some pressure here. We've been heading down. We got a nice good. This is a hammer pattern. We're developing a hammer pattern on the weekly candlestick as well. Hopefully we can get some momentum and break to the upside. I'm sick of going down, guys. It's especially if from here it's just been kind of a grind lower. And more power to you guys for holding on. And Mavericks Metals, this is a good royalty company. Hopefully we can get some support through here, and we can start turning around. This is the projected move is about somewhere in this range where we're at, depending on how you draw it. And then Royal Gold. Royal Gold's getting a little bit of a hammer pattern. Hopefully we can get a little double bottom here where we can get some momentum to the upside. We just got to see it. And a Cisco Gold royalty, hopefully we can get a move upward. And when these things break, guys, it's a hammer pattern on the daily candlestick. Looks pretty good. When we get some momentum here and we can start moving on up, these are going to break, and it's going to be such huge moves on the long-term perspective that it's going to be ridiculous. You have to hold through this. The market conditions are coming. The inflation is coming. And higher interest rates will eventually come. If not, the pressure is going to be there, and we're going to get really big real negative rates. These are the spot, in my opinion, to be in the long term. The short term, you're going to have to bite your tongue. You're going to have to feel your insides, get kicked around a little bit, and get that kind of, oh man, my account's down. I'm right there with you. I am actually, from my highs, I'm probably 25, 30% off my highs. And that was just back some weeks ago in the Omicron moronic, when that news was released. If you noticed in my demeanor in some of my videos, I was quite mad because they released this information on a low trading day on a Black Friday. It's like, guys, you did this on purpose. Don't give me that. And the way they released it, how they hit the markets and when they hit the markets was kind of, it's like, this wasn't that big of a deal. You could have waited till the opening markets if you really, and kind of leak this through slowly. You don't have to hit it with everything you got and try to get everyone scared. But we're kind of, I think, nearing an end to this virus fear thing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It does look like we're finding some support on the buyer side to put in some hammer patterns. So hopefully we can find some support here and start reversing things in the opposite direction. Again, I'm looking at these things, I would be sprinkling. I don't have a lot of money at the moment. I'm trying to save up to pay some taxes. I'm probably going to have to buy a new fence. But I would be looking at things now and watching to see for downtrends to be broken. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.